All right, another day, another Musion video, and here we are talking about this again because people cannot accept the fact that Hoyoverse is racist as fuck. Oh my god. Here's the thing. I've already made like 2 videos on this, right? And I've already made my stance pretty clear. I've talked about this a couple times before. I've already made my stance pretty clear. People are mad at Genshin because they're of the Natlan characters because they're not dark enough, and cultural appropriation, the whole shebang, right? And basically, I said this. Me personally, I don't care, and there's nothing you could say to convince me that to care about this, because at the end of the day, as much as I want to get, as much as you'd want me to get angry at this, I can't be angry at this, because at the end of the day, this is a video game about 2D anime women that pull swords out of their uteruses. I don't like it's not that big of a deal to me. I don't care. And I made it clear, and I made it clear in one of my other videos, that if you care about this, if this truly pisses you off, if this really offends you, then just uninstall the game. Because the reality is, if you're mad about this, right? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying nobody cares. Nobody cares that you're mad, because Hoyoverse does not give a shit. Hoyoverse blatantly said that they don't care about this. And I'm going to keep it real. Nobody outside of Twitter cares about this either. Like, yeah, sure, there's a whole change.org petition, but that's like what? 100,000 subscribers, 100,000 signatures? That's like what? Like less than 1% of the player base? No, nobody cares. Like, that's just the truth of it. Like, nobody actually cares. I'm not saying you're invalid for feeling this way. I'm just saying nobody cares that you feel this way. That's just the reality of it. You can say I'm an asshole as much as you want, but that's just the truth. People don't care about this. But I'm interested to see what Mugen's going to say about this, because I'm sure he's delved into this a lot more than I did. So I'm curious about what he's going to report. Maybe the situation is worse than what I believe it to be, or maybe it is what it is. Maybe it's the same old people mad because black people, you know what I mean? But I'm curious. Inform me, great Mugen. Maybe I'm the ignorant one. Maybe I'm the ignorant one. All right. Inform me, Mugen. Let me know. Tell me what's up.
Another day, another Genshin Impact boycott. This time with over 100,000.
What the fuck? Why the fuck is this? Black, what the? Why is that there as the side?
1,000 signatures on a change.org petition with the name "Stop."
I'll keep it real. Change.org petitions mean nothing. I'm keeping it real. 9 times out of 10, they mean fuck all, because they are not change.org positions. They hold no power because they're not legally binding. They're not contractual. They're nothing. They're just a way for people to show, like, a company that, hey, your consumers feel this certain way about it. But the problem is that if the company does not care about how you feel about this thing, then your change.org petition means fuck all. That's just the reality of it.
Cultural appropriation and whitewashing in MiHoYo games. MiHoYo, otherwise known as Hoyoverse, who is Genshin Impact's developer. This isn't the first time that Genshin Impact is accused by its community, mostly on Twitter and Reddit, of being racist. But this is the first time where you have significant people within the community talk about it. I'm talking voice actors who voiced for the game directly talking about it, and content creators who never really involved themselves in controversy and who've never spoken about something like.
I know voice actors are like coming into like the fray, and they're and they're voicing their opinions, and they're entitled to their opinions. But genuinely, no, I'm gonna hold this hot take until we get further in. I'm gonna hold this hot take until we get further in.
People protesting this were done with the game, voicing their discontent and saying that they were gonna boycott it. But little did they know that this entire controversy, this entire boycott, was going to be catastrophic, but not in the way you'd think. Let's talk about it.
Really? Let me know.
Well, you know how you can avoid catastrophe? Showing up with a ship like
the
this.
Sponsor.
And you can get exactly that because
sorry, Mugen, love you, but I want to get into the context.
Genshin Impact has been out for almost 4 years now, and in that time, it has found itself embroiled in racism controversies 3 times now, including this one going on right now. And the question is, why?
What was the third one? I know Sumeru, and then there's this one, but what was the third one? Were people mad about Liyue?
Why? Well, you see, Genshin Impact has many regions, with Liyue right here being inspired by China. I mean, they have an actual opera singer called Yunjin that sings in Mandarin Chinese opera. She was made to promote and celebrate Chinese culture, so it's no secret Liyue is based on China. Then you have Inazuma based on Japan, where the enemies look like samurais, and the goddess of the region, or Archon, is called the Raiden Shogun, right? It's fairly straightforward. The first racism controversy.
I still think it's hypocritical that if you're going to complain about cultural appropriation, that this person should have had a massive cock if you care about cultural appropriation, because there were no female shogunates back in the Edo period. Just saying.
The Raiden Shogun, right? It's fairly straightforward. The first racism controversy that Hoyoverse was embroiled in was shortly after the game's release in 2020. One of the first and most common enemies you fight in the game for a very long time are called hilichurls.
Yeah, the homeless people.
Look, right? The controversy stemmed from how their skin is the blackest it can be, and they are seen as the enemy. What
is that really why people were mad? Because the so anything black is just, bro, I have never even made that connection before. I've never looked. Is that honestly what it was? That's kind of a reach. I'm gonna keep it real. Okay, like Natlin, okay, I can understand. Sumeru, sure, but really the hilichurls, that's kind of a reach. What fellow black men, like, to all my fellow black men, did you ever look at the hilichurls and think, hey, my brother? Like, what?
Made this controversy somewhat significant, though, was when an office tour of the developer of Genshin Impact was published on YouTube, and people saw an employee taking inspiration for the dance the hilichurl does from tribal and indigenous people. This is the dance right here, right? So overall, this happened. However, at the time, the game had generated over $1 billion just in 6 months, and the community was so huge that these complaints, honestly, they pretty much got ignored. No one really took them seriously. Now, at this point, Genshin had been out for over a year. The Inazuma arc was concluding, and people were looking forward to the next region that came afterwards, which was Sumeru. There was such a content drought that leakers were becoming more and more of a problem because people looked forward to new content so much. I would argue one of the biggest leaks in this game's history was this image right here. This was posted on Reddit, and then
oh shit, was that really? They literally just leaked all the way up until Alhaitham? Really? Damn, I don't look at leaks that much, or at all. Really, I don't even look at leaks at all. Like, if it just shows up on my YouTube feed, I might click on it, but like, I don't really look at leaks. I did not know that they just dropped all the characters in the leak. That is something Hoyoverse really needs to work on. They are so bad at containing leaks. Like, it's actually kind of pathetic how easily their shit gets leaked.
Then Twitter. And as you can see, this has over 20,000 upvotes on the subreddit r/Genshin Impact leaks. This image was so extremely significant. You had 7 characters that no one had ever seen before. The only thing that was shown from Sumeru was nothing, right? This was posted on June 30th, 2022. A few days later, on July 2nd, would be the first time people would even see what the region looked like. And there you had every single character releasing for like the next months after Sumeru finally releases. The leaks were getting out of control, but that's not what people were concerned with on Twitter or Reddit. Sumeru was meant to be a region inspired by the Middle East and South Asia, so India, for example. This made Twitter and some Reddit communities lose their absolute minds.
No, because why not? Of course they did.
For not wanting to display the skin colors of the cultures that they were getting inspired from. And the hashtag #BoycottGenshin got created. What I found really funny at the time was that these were leaked characters. These were illegally obtained images of the characters. Yet people were messaging Genshin Impact's customer support, complaining on Twitter, complaining on Reddit, calling them racist, when The entire foundation of their argument is an image obtained illegally. Like, it just didn't make sense. Even if content creators and voice actors and just people in the
I mean, that's just the genshin community, right? They want to be mad and then be completely like be devoid of any accountability on their own terms. Right? It's actually kind of funny. They're like, sir, this document that I illegally obtained from you is not right. You need to fix that. Like, what?
The community wanted to talk about it. They couldn't, because that would blacklist them from any collaborations with Hoyoverse in the future. There's one thing they don't like, and it's discussing leaks. But that didn't stop the community from creating a wildfire. Over time,
and you know why? And you know why I know for a fact that this, as much as people want to claim that this is massive and people are boycotting, the reason why I don't care is because if you notice how everybody was complaining about where is it? If you notice how everyone, I remember vividly, there people talked about this for months, how his name was supposed to be pronounced Tignari, right? Because that was the whole thing. There wasn't representation, all cultural motion. This was supposed to say Tignari. And notice how nobody says Tignari now. It's been like over a year. Not even over a year. It's been like 2 years. And nobody says Tignari anymore. Nobody cares that you say Tainari, right? People used to lose their mind if you said Tainari, not Tignari. And now nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares anymore. It's the same thing's gonna happen with Natlan. It's the people are gonna complain, then the characters are gonna come out, then all the banners are gonna do $10+ million in sales, and then the Pyro Archon's gonna come out, and then she's gonna do $100 million in sales because she is fucking hot. She's going to do $100 million in sales because she is a big-breasted redhead. That's why.
Cultures that they were getting inspired from. And just people in the community wanted to talk about it. They couldn't, because that would blacklist them from any collaborations with Hoyoverse in the future. There's one thing they don't like, and it's discussing leaks. But that didn't stop the community from creating a wildfire. Over time, as Genshin Impact would reveal more and more characters in Sumeru, there would always be comments in the replies talking about how they're not dark enough. But that didn't stop a huge amount of people from liking and spending money on those designs. And ironically,
as I've always said,
there was an entire...
As I've always said, people are going to complain, but they're still going to spend money. And that's why I don't care. Like, I really don't. Like, genuinely. I said this in one of my other videos before. If this pisses you off, just uninstall the game. Right? Uninstall the game if this really pisses you off. And if you can't uninstall the game and you continue to support a company that violates something that you supposedly really believe in, then maybe you don't care as much as you're claiming that you do. That's all I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong. I am not saying you're wrong if this pisses you off. But what I'm saying is, one, nobody cares because the reality is this isn't that big of a deal. And two, majority of the people that are complaining about this are still going to spend money to get these characters that they're complaining about. So why does Hoyoverse need to care if all these people who are bitching are still going to spend their money on the game?
Boycott movement made on Twitter when the goddess or Archon of Sumeru released, which is probably the most pale character out of any character in Sumeru. She broke sales records. Yes, this was the highest selling character banner in the history of the game since its release in 2020.
Really? Nahida did more than Raiden Shogun? I don't think that. I mean, keep in mind, this is what he's showing right now. This is just the iOS China market. I still think like Raiden Shogun, like all with all charts included, I think Raiden Shogun is still the most, unless it was beaten out by Hu Tao and Yelan. But I still think like Raiden Shogun is still the most. No.
More specifically in China, which is one of their main markets. But overall, it did very, very well globally too. This was then largely forgotten, right? We moved on to the next region, which was Fontaine. A mix of French and British culture. I don't know why you mixed both of those things.
It was French.
Listen,
it was mostly French.
Buddy. But people from
it was mostly French
were hoping that the region after Fontaine, which was going to be Natlan, would give them what they wanted. Darker skinned characters, because it was a region rumored to be inspired by South American and some African culture. Well, as you could guess from this video and the title and what we're talking about,
yeah, that didn't happen.
Didn't meet any of their expectations. On July 9th, 2024, Hoyoverse.
And you see the thing is, I like, I'm trying to be as fair as possible because, you know, my opinion is my opinion. You understand my opinion. I'm trying to be as fair as possible. Some of these I can kind of understand. Like, okay, these two chicks up here, sure. Okay. This dude, this Sasuke looking motherfucker over here, okay. I can get that. Right? But like 1, 2, 3, 4. They're really like, I feel like, okay, this guy can kind of that's a gray area, but definitely 1, 2, 3. I feel like these are fine, especially this one. This is a bro. This is a fucking nigga over here. This is a nigga. this person is dark as fuck. But I feel like 1, 2, 3 are fine. This 1, 2, 3 I can understand. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 I can understand. Right, you already know my opinion, but I can understand. 1, 2, 3, 4 I can understand. This is gray area, but 1, 2, 3. If you're mad about these three, I think you're pulling shit out of your ass. If you're mad about these three characters, I think you're just pulling shit out of your ass, straight up.
First did their 4.8 version live stream, and then at the end revealed not only more of Natlan's landscape, but all these characters, with Mavuika over here being the goddess or archon of the region. So as you can tell, there's not much of a change since Sumeru, right? So this prompted the same people who disliked Sumeru designs to come back on Twitter and Reddit and in the communities they frequent to talk about their dislike and disappointment in the direction Hoyoverse took these characters.
And then they will proceed to spend thousands of dollars to C6 her because she is a big-breasted redhead.
You saw tweets like this popping up with the hashtag boycotting, which stands for Hoyoverse, saying, "Look at this bullshit, fix your ass games Hoyoverse," showing examples of dark-skinned characters in Annie games and then comparing them to Hoyoverse's palette. This boycott ended up reaching people outside of the targeted demographic with this tweet right here, where someone ended up sending a message to Genshin Impact's customer
support, and they said, "Fuck you, we don't care,"
complaining about the characters' designs and their skin tone, saying, "Genshin is not real life. Genshin Impact, what kind of response is this when a player submits feedback about the racism and colorism? Embarrassing, unprofessional behavior from a company of grown-ups and supposed mature, well-read developers. Hashtag, why are they white Hoyo?"
Because people like white girls. I don't know. I'm just saying, they sell.
They were referencing what the customer.
But you know what is racist? You know what is racist about Hoyoverse, about this? You know what the real tragedy in Genshin Impact is? That I can verifiably say that this is true racism in the game. The fact that all the dark-skinned characters in the game all fucking suck. Fucking Shin Yan sucks. Candace sucks. Dea sucks. Sino is kind of mid. Like, all the dark-skinned characters fucking suck. That's what I can say. Okay, yeah, they're fucking racist because all those dark-skinned characters are all trash.
Service was responding with. Here's what they said. "Dear traveler, thank you for your feedback. Please be kindly reminded that Genshin Impact is a work of fiction and is not related to actual people, events, groups, or organizations. We really do hope for your understanding. Kind regards, Genshin Impact Customer Service Team." This led to a very divided response on Twitter, with some people calling Hoyoverse based for this response and others saying that they were immature and this only made them hate them more. In any case, this got so much attention that the person who tweeted it ended up deleting their account, which is why I'm showing you a screenshot.
Damn.
But this was still nothing compared to what happened next.
Oh, really?
Valeria Rodriguez, a voice actress and someone who happens to voice Sucrose from Genshin Impact, the 4-star character,
okay, so this is
tweeted this out on July
actors.
13th, saying, "I could stay quiet about this and protect myself, but us folk of color don't always need to stay quiet and let others fuck us over and disrespect us, so that we continue to advance at half the pace of our white peers. If you're going to use real-world deities, respect them. If you're basing off of real cultures, respect that. I'm fine with things being inspired by various cultures. That's awesome. Representation is dope. But bare minimum, do some research and show some cultural appreciation." Then she goes on to say, "Oloran is the supreme Yoruba deity. You could find that with a quick Google search even. This is unforgivable. Look at what a sick job Smite did with their own interpretation. It's not hard." So here she's referencing Oloran right here, the Yoruba deity. On the right, you could see the design from Smite. And right here is a character called Ororun.
And once again, look, I'm not saying she's invalid for saying this. I'm not saying she's wrong for saying that or feeling this way. But what I am saying is that if she really does care about this, and she's really pissed off because she's saying that she's a person of color, right? So she's saying that this truly violates like what she believes in. Will she continue to get a check from Hoyoverse, the company that she says violated her beliefs as a person of color? Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, will she continue to get a check from said company that she's calling racist? Because if that's the case, then all I'm saying is maybe they don't care as much as they're claiming to do, claiming to care, claiming to be. That's all I'm saying. Like, if you were going to go off on this rant about how much this pisses you off, how much you hate this, how much you fucking hate this company, it's kind of hypocritical when you continue to get a check from said company. That's all I'm saying. Maybe then once again, we're still halfway into the video, so it could be that she's like, yeah, I dropped my roll of sucrose because fuck this company. And if she did that, hey, all power to you. I respect that. But I'm just saying.
In Genshin Impact, part of Natlan's new characters, that doesn't resemble him in the slightest, right? She then ends her chain of tweets with a picture of herself with a book called Congo, The Epic History of a People, to prove that she's not doing this performatively. All right. So it's obvious that
even Buja knows. He's laughing.
Her series of tweets are very angry and emotional. And this was partly because it wasn't just talking about a video game anymore. It was talking about racism in general. This was also very direct, right? This wasn't a subtweet or an indirect tweet. This was,
and this is something I'm actually going to talk about right now. Like, all right, we all know racism exists, right? Every person of color, even white people, we all experience racism because it exists. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. We've all experienced racism. I've experienced racism. Everyone knows what racism is. We all know what it is, right? And when you experience real racism and true racism and discrimination, and you realize and you see the shit that happens, right? And you see the fuck shit people will say and do purely because you just look different. When you see that happen, like, is when you compare the fuck shit that you see with actual racism, with like people who bear hatred for somebody who just looks different from you, when you see that like true hatred and that true racism, and you compare it to this, is it really that big of a deal? Like, for me, I'm sorry, like, bro, I'm sorry, like, from the real racism I've seen and experienced, when I compare it to this, it's like it's a nothing burger. I don't have the energy to be mad about this.
It's calling out Genshin specifically by including this picture of the upcoming character Orun. A voice actor being this direct about Genshin Impact controversy has never really quite happened before. So one could say this was really the ground zero of the massive Twitter drama that followed. Valeria didn't stop there though. She tweeted again on the same day, "My reaction to you dorks saying you're gonna switch your game to a different language now." And it shows an emoji laughing. "I'm not deleting my tweets either. Seeing the huge response, both hateful and positive, means that I struck a chord. I'm done being silent. It's 2024. We can all do better." Then you had Bill Butt speak up, someone who doesn't voice for Genshin Impact, but who voices for Honkai Star Rail, another game in Hoyoverse's roster. He's Albert, the beloved host of Honkai Star Rail live streams.
I love Albert's voice, bro. Albert's voice is so sick.
Choosing not to be as direct as Valeria and saying, "Dark skin is beautiful. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise." This was also made on July 13th, the same day Valeria was tweeting, and one could regard it as a subtweet, as an indirect tweet towards what was going on in Genshin Impact. Alejandro Saab, who voices in 3 different Hoyoverse games in major roles, quote tweeted one of Valeria's tweets and said, "I didn't know that's who he's based on. Ah, that's bad. You still got time to fix it." Doubling down and tweeting it again on his VTuber account, echoing the same statement, but this time saying, "Wow, this is bad." So at this point, Twitter was on fire, and you had something that had never happened before. Multiple voice actors were.
See, when Alejandro Saab tweets that out, that's how you know people are gonna get rowdy, because Alejandro Saab is like the voice of voice actors in Hoyoverse games, because he's just, whenever something happens, they go straight to him. Like, when anything happens in a Hoyoverse game, it doesn't even matter if he's in it or not. They just go straight to him. Just go like Sayu's like the spokesperson. I don't even think he wants to be. It just happened. People just made him the spokesperson. Anytime something happens, they go straight to him, and it's just just got stuck with it. And I kind of feel bad for him, because it's not like he wants to be, but it's like, it is what it is.
In some way risking their jobs by speaking out about this so directly. But this was only the beginning. This tweet right here was made saying, why aren't Genshin content creators saying anything? They're the voices of the community, they should speak, garnering quite a bit of attention. This made very positive Genshin Impact creators, people who typically avoid controversy in every way and just focus on the positives, feel pressured to speak. Doro44 is one of them, and he quote tweeted this tweet saying, why aren't Genshin content creators speaking? And then had this to say, I did on my stream and on my reaction to the trailer. I'm disappointed that there aren't darker skin tone characters in Natlan and the representation is just so bad, especially since Hoyo is pulling from real world regions and cultures.
One thing I will say though, I do think it's unfair to just force people to voice an opinion, because you have to ask yourself, if you force someone to give an opinion, is that opinion real? Right? Like if you say, oh, why aren't these people talking about it? Where are these people? Why are they saying anything about it? Maybe it's because they just don't want to. And if they don't want to, who are you to make them do it? Right? Just like, and it's like, and if after all the backlash they do come out with an opinion, is that opinion real? Or are they just making that opinion because they were forced to? And if that's the case, should that opinion be like an actual valid opinion? Because is it a real opinion? Is that how they really feel? Right? And I'm not saying that to any of the content creators, right? Whether they said something about this or not, like I'm not shitting on any of the content creators about this, but it's just it's a gray area, right? Because it may not stem from a place of a genuine concern, more so of just, okay, I need to say this so that people can shut up, right?
I genuinely had hope for them, and I hope they make changes in time of release. And Doro speaking out pretty much started a chain reaction of other content creators also starting to speak out about it. You had Blap, one of the biggest Genshin Impact content creators around the time it released, able to do a video just playing the story and getting over 1 million views, said, the insane part is like, what else is there to say about Genshin's colorism that hasn't already been said 2 years ago? People were talking about the same issues that were seen in Sumeru's cast and were instead told to wait for Natlan. Now that we're here, what do you wait for? Tuanto, the Genshin Impact content creator with the most subscribers on YouTube, retweeted 2 tweets that were echoing the same sentiment as the voice actors and content creators that had spoken up.
Wait, hold on, we're not gonna skip past that. What the fuck?
Tweets that were echoing the same sentiment as the voice.
So everybody's just pissed about the racism. They just have Lily Pichu feet. Honestly, that's based. I love that.
Actors and content creators that had spoken up. While this was happening, many people were taking the character designs that were already shown and making them black, like this one, for example, and many others. And they were getting many views and a lot of traction on Twitter, with many people thinking, man, this should have been the actual design.
I won't lie, I fucks with that.
This one, for example, and many others.
I won't lie, I fucks with that too. That's actually a sick design. I actually fucks with that.
And they were getting many views and a lot of traction on Twitter, with many people thinking, man, this should have been the actual design of these characters. But Tectone came in with a bit of a different opinion, saying Genshin Impact will not change. If you're mad, you should quit. The only thing they track/care about is money spent and concurrent player base. This has already happened before and will happen again. Side note, I do think it's fair to be upset, but the company doesn't care.
Okay, I'm about to have a hot take. The only thing they track and care about is money spent and concurrent player base. Why would they care about anything else? I'm just keeping it real. From a company perspective, why would they care about anything else other than this? Right? Because the reality is, if people are going to be mad about this, right? If people are going to be mad about this, but they still make hundreds of millions of dollars on said banners, why would they care? Why should they care if the money does not reflect on how people feel, right? Like that's just how I feel. Like, obviously goodwill is also something that should be taken into account when you're doing a business. Obviously goodwill is a very important factor of a business, but the goodwill that they care about is not from global, it's from CN. And CN clearly doesn't care because they make a shit ton of money. So if the money reflected the backlash that they're getting right now, right? If like when Natlan releases, right? Say the first banner, which is probably going to be Mualani, and then I don't know who that fucking Sasuke dude, I don't know his name. They're probably going to be the first 2 banners for Natlan. if the money reflects, and those are like the worst banners Genshin has ever done, if those are like the worst banners Genshin has ever done, then they'll listen and be like, oh shit, they weren't talking out of their ass. Maybe we should put some melanin in these characters. And then they'll put melanin in these characters because money talks. But if these people are complaining and saying that these characters aren't dark enough and then people are like, Hoyoverse is racist, but they still C6 R5 these characters and spend a whole mortgage payment to get these characters, then why the fuck would Hoyoverse care? Because the money speaks otherwise, right? It's like fucking like, you know, it's like another perfect example of shit like this. It's like Diablo Immortal, right? Diablo Immortal is like considered like the worst game ever made, but that game makes like $100 million a day. So like, why would they change? That game makes enough. That game makes more than enough money. They don't care. Why would they change? They make a shit ton of money. And you know what? I hate to sound like a corporate shell. I would probably do the same thing. If I gave a sub-tier, if I sold a sub-tier product and it still made a shit ton of money, I mean, like, obviously, like, I'm gonna keep it real. Like, I would have less of an incentive to make the product better if my product with sub-tier quality still sold very well. It doesn't, like, you have to understand how corporations think, right? Money is the most important thing. Money is the language they speak. If they're still making a ton of money, this backlash means nothing.
And this is where it gets tricky, because it was becoming clear this was a topic with many different opinions. Genshin Impact had made this tweet officially revealing Moalani in her drip marketing, and here's two kinds of quote tweets that I want to show you to really make you understand how opinions can differ. Someone quote tweeted this drip marketing and said, "Holy shit, Hoyoverse, you bumfucks, how did she get more white?" accusing them of whitening her up in the drip marketing. And then you had this tweet right here saying, Genshin fans be like they whitewashed Obama, showing Obama in two different scenarios that have different light sources.
That's actually
this one
funny.
Also getting a lot of traction. But what really made this boycott catastrophic, in the sense that it didn't work, it won't work, and it will never work, is this right here. I could just sum it up with this tweet. Look, This is someone participating in the boycott saying, please remember not to fund Hoyoverse anymore. Go free to play queens. Because the sentiment echoed on the boycott communities on Twitter were saying, hey, listen, you can keep playing the game, just don't fund them, don't spend money anymore. And then you see this reply.
Yeah, going free to play won't stop anything because you're still giving them player retention, which they can show to investors who will give them more money to fund the game. So, what the oh my god, these people are so stupid. See, this is what I mean. This boycott means fucking nothing because these people out here are so fucking stupid. Like, oh my god. Bro, I can't with this fucking community, bro.
Saying, or you could just stop playing the game, because just you playing it pads their numbers and makes investors happy, meaning they still get money. Going free to play won't stop anything. To which this person replies, it is very easy to speak, but nearly impossible to do. I still remember thinking that I wanted to delete Honkai Star Rail, but I can't. Why? Because I invested 1,000 top.
And there you go, sunk cost fallacy. See, this is exactly what I mean. This is why I mean this boycott means fuck all. It's a failure. It's not going to do anything. Oh my god, bro. Like, and this is why I say that. I say this with my full-on chest. I say this with my chest. Nobody outside of Twitter cares about this, and the people who are complaining about this on Twitter don't care as much as you think, because they're not going to go the distance. They're not going to put their money with about this to actually show that they care about this, right? I'm not trying to throw anybody into the fire or under the shade, but the way people are getting mad about this and then doing nothing about it is like, it's so funny to me, because if this pisses you off, uninstall the game. Just uninstall it. Play Wuthering Waves. That's the biggest fuck you could do to Hoyoverse, is uninstall this game and play Wuthering Waves. That's probably the biggest fuck you, because Hoyoverse is scared shitless of Wuthering Waves. Like, that's just the truth. So play Wuthering Waves if you want to stop supporting Genshin, right? But it's just like 90% of the people that are complaining about this, they're not going to do anything. They're just going to continue to play the game, and then they're gonna go and spend all of their rent money to get these characters and then continue to beat their dick to the R34 point of these characters. It's just, oh my god, bro, this community gives me a fucking headache.
Dollars in this game. How can I delete this game now? I have spent so much on it. This right here is literally, I'm not even kidding. This is why the boycott didn't work and will never work, because the people boycotting it cannot stop playing the game. They're addicted. They can't do it.
And this is why Hoyoverse doesn't care. I know, I'm sorry for pausing so much, but it's just like, this is why Hoyoverse doesn't care. Because they know you're going to still play the game. They know that if they could put the whitest of white character, I'm talking like straight up Sweet Home Alabama white in this region of Natlan, and people will still C6 that character. They know. They have you wrapped around their fucking finger, and you're not going to do fuck all about this. Even, oh my god, it's just too funny.
And here's the harsh reality. If Hoyoverse had to pick between someone who shows up in their game once a month, spends $100, and then leaves, versus someone who plays the game every single day for hours on end and doesn't spend any dollar, guess who they'll pick if they can keep only one? They'll pick the person who doesn't spend money but plays the game every single day for hours on end. Why? First off, it pads their numbers and makes the active concurrent player base seem higher. But also, this person's addicted, dude. They have a higher chance of becoming an evangelist, something very valuable to a company that money can't really buy. Which means they'll talk to
people like that are going to become a prophet of this game. They're going to come out of their, after Genshin Impact 2 comes out, they're going to come out of their basement and walk around dressed up as fucking D-Luke to spread the word of John Hoyoverse
to their friends about it. They'll probably buy merch, they'll go to conventions, they'll participate on social media, etc., etc. And let's be real here, many people boycotting are also in their teenage years, okay? It's not like they spent a lot of money to begin with. I doubt the real whales who are actually spending thousands of dollars every month, yes, thousands, actually care about this. And this is where this whole boycott is flawed. Additionally, Legal Mindset made this tweet saying, "Something tells me the Hoyoverse boycott will be ineffective." And this is a chart that shows the Genshin Impact player distribution by region. It says, here's a player distribution data by region in the past 5 years, being 100 has the most players. And as you can see here, the top 5 countries in which there's the most players that play Genshin Impact
it's nowhere in the West. Not a single Western country spends the most money on Genshin. Even in Canada, the country where I'm from, spends more money on this game than the United States. Or am I crazy? Where's the United States? Is the United States somewhere on there? Right? The United States isn't even on this list. So even in my country, we spend more money on this game than the United States. This is why Hoyoverse doesn't give one singular fuck about what a lot of people think about Genshin. Because you don't spend money on the game. So why would they care?
Are Japan, South Korea, Philippines, Russia, and Taiwan. The United States isn't even here to begin with, and most of the European countries aren't either. In fact, I can't even find South America except for Chile and Costa Rica. The top 10 countries on this list, who also happen to be some of its biggest spenders, associate white skin with cleanliness, beauty, purity, and they also unfortunately don't really have any preference towards darker skin. I don't think it's surprising for me to say that both Japan and South Korea are the biggest player base.
And you also have to keep in mind, that a lot of these countries are homogenous, meaning they're not diverse. Like when you go to Japan, Japan or South Korea, there are a lot of people in these countries who don't even know black people exist. Like there are a lot of people in this country where if I were to go to Japan, like in certain areas of Japan, obviously I don't mean like Tokyo or like Shibuya or like Akihabara or some shit, places like that. I don't mean like a place that has a lot of tourists. If I were to go like a rural area in Japan, I would be a fucking unicorn, because there are people in these countries that don't even know black people exist. They've never seen a black person. They have never met someone outside of their race. That's the situation for a lot of these countries. So you also have to just take that into consideration. Not everywhere is diverse as North America and like Eastern and like European countries, because a lot of them are homogenous. They've never seen someone darker than them. So this is why they don't really care about that. They think like darker skin is like actually fictional. That's something you need to understand about a lot of these countries.
Cases in this game by far would probably never spend money on a darker skin color character. Because don't get it twisted, at the end of the day, this is about money. Something that Hoyoverse is no stranger to at all. Genshin Impact in China alone has made $38 million in June of 2024, and this is during a dead period where there's not a lot of new content. Globally, Genshin Impact made $29 million, and I assure you, when the stats come out for July, it'll show a great number too. But that's weird, because some people were sharing this Imgur album saying this is the Chinese reaction to Natlan characters. Guys, there are allies here, with comments such as, agreed, it is appropriate to have black characters in settings and styles of Africa and Latin America, with bigger comments supporting it too. But here's the thing, this is part of a forum. I don't even know what the forum is, and these are only a few hand-picked comments.
Those could be like the minority. For all we know, there could be like a lot of comments that are like, what are black people? Who are they? And like shit like that. Those could be like the most downvoted like comments, like something people never saw. Like we all know, for all we know, this guy could have dug to the bottom of that forum to find these comments.
The reality is, most of the Chinese community is on Bilibili. Let's see what they had to say there. We don't have political correctness. They can fuck off. I don't like someone who looks too black. Hillagers are black and there are swarms of them. Why aren't they satisfied? Characters look okay. What's the problem? Why do they need to have dark skin? Black skin are so repulsive to look at. Only slight tan are okay. Now, of course, this doesn't represent the majority of Chinese people on this planet.
Bro, they would hate me. Holy fuck. They would skin me alive. Holy God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Obviously, those are like the bottom, like obviously that's the minority. Obviously not everybody in China thinks like that. I'm pretty sure majority of people in China don't even know what a black person is. But that's actually funny. Bro, they would hate my ass over there.
Planet, but the reality is Hoyoverse would much rather piss off the global player who accesses Twitter and Reddit, two websites they can't access at home, rather than pissing off people like this. Don't get me wrong, 100,000 signatures is pretty significant, and this would have maybe gotten a certain reaction.
No, it's not. In the on the scale of how many people play Genshin Impact, or even not even just play Genshin Impact, on the scale of how many people know about Genshin Impact, 100,000 signatures is nothing. Straight up. In comparison, in the scale of like Hoyoverse and the amount of like people that play their games and like know about Genshin and like the company, 100,000 subscribers is nothing. It means fuck all.
From a Western developer.
I say subscribers, signatures. Holy fuck, I got content creator on my mind.
Will only care about either money or pissing off the government. That is it. There's nothing else. Zero. And this was proven in one of the worst ways as this was happening, by the way. The salt in the wound to everyone who signed this petition and complained on Twitter.
Is he gonna talk about the Nuvulet nerf? Is he gonna talk about the Nuvulet nerf?
Happened as they were complaining. On July 18th, not even a few days after the whole boycott movement was beginning to really explode, Genshin...
Bro, I saw that. I made a video of that, bro. I thought this was so funny. Bro, everybody was losing their minds about this. And then they tweet out an apology, not about being racist, but because they nerfed the white man. Oh my God, I was crying when I read that. That was so funny.
Genshin Impact released a patch for Nuvulet, a character famously known to have a very overpowered ability which lets him 360 and pretty much eliminate anyone in his radius. After 8 months of being out, they release a patch that quote-unquote fixes it and stops him from being able to do this.
But honestly, I do side with the people that complain about this, because that is like false advertisement, because a lot of people spent money to get this character, and to do this like almost a year after the character released, that's actually shady as shit. That's shady as fuck. So that is actually like lot of like very, very shady business practice. And I honestly I can see why people were mad about that, because it was like, why would you change the character after everybody spent so much money? I think he had like 2 banners. He had 2 banners, and they waited until now to fix that bug, apparently. So yeah, that was shady as fuck.
rapidly. The Chinese fan base lost its mind over this and threatened to sue Genshin Impact under the law of Chinese consumer rights. And I kid you not, I kid you not, in under 24 hours, not only did they reverse the patch, but they sent one of the most generous rewards in the game's history.
Yeah, I know, I said that too. I was like, bro, they sent a fucking 10 pull. Now, in any other game, that would mean nothing. But in Genshin Impact, I don't think they've given out a free 10 pull for anything without people having to force them to do it. Like, I genuinely think this is the first time they've ever given a free 10 pull without being forced to do it. Well, they're forced in a sense. Like, people were complaining about them because of New Roulette, but like this could have been like 800 or like 200 primogens. But no, they sent a whole 10 pull. Like, they didn't have to correct it; they just sent a whole 10 pull. That was the biggest fuck you, because they've never done that. That was amazing.
History 1,600 primogems to apologize. While people were still complaining about the skin colors, Hoyoverse had pretty much said we couldn't care less unless our Chinese business was in danger. As I told you,
legit, yeah.
Money or the government. That is the only thing that can move a Chinese corporation. And Chinese players knew that very well. Look, people have voiced their opinions. It's their opinion, you know, it's their viewpoint, and of course it's valid. I think one of the main issues I've seen people voice is the fact that their history is quote-unquote being replaced, because now if I type Olorun, which is the Yoruba deity, I start to see the Genshin Impact character, right, who doesn't look anything like him. And the people complaining are making this out to be a life or death situation, like, oh my god, my culture is being replaced.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I feel like that's the big, and that's why I'm making the claims that I'm making, because people are really making this like this is like their life is ruined from this. And like that's why I make the claim that like if this violates something you really believe in, put your money where your mouth is and stop supporting the company. Uninstall the game, or if you're somebody that's collecting a check from the government, from a check from that company, stop getting checks from that company, right? That's why I'm like making the claims, because people are making it seem like, bro, like this shit is like, it's like the worst thing that's ever happened. Like, people are making it seem like this is what happened in Paris in the Olympics. Like, people are pissed about this, and I'm just like, hey, if you're pissed about this, all power to you. I'm not shitting on you for being mad. Like, hey, I'm not saying you're wrong for being mad, but I'm saying you're wrong if you're mad and you're still supporting the company that made you mad. That's where I'm saying you're wrong. like, look, you feel the way you want to feel about it. I feel the way I want to feel about it. I'm not disrespecting you for being mad about this, but it's like some people are just showing their hypocrisy. They are just showing their hypocrisy.
It's being erased. I cannot support the game anymore. But the thing is, you can't make this out to be a life or death situation if you're addicted to the game and can't stop playing it. You have to commit. Yeah. Because the fact that people are still playing the game while signing the petition just makes everyone look like absolute clowns, and that's the reality. A real boycott is like what happened with Blizzard back in 2019, when they disqualified a player for voicing support for Hong Kong protesters back in 2019. People in retaliation started deleting their Blizzard accounts. Yes, deleting them.
Legitimately, yeah. I remember this. I remember watching that in real time. And that's how you make change. That's how you affect their numbers. Blizzard did this, and they showed that they cared. Blizzard did exactly what Hoyoverse did. They showed that they cared about the Chinese market more than the global. And Global came in and said, nah, fuck you. You're listening to us. And they deleted their accounts. They stopped supporting Blizzard. They stopped spending money on the game. They stopped playing the games. They stopped playing Hearthstone. They stopped playing Overwatch. They stopped playing WoW. I mean, WoW's always been a point of contention with this game, with this company. But like they showed that they really care, and they just stopped supporting the game, period, point blank. They stopped everything that related to Blizzard because of this. Because this genuinely pissed people off. Just like how this whole situation is pissing off people about Genshin Impact. But the difference is the people who are mad at Blizzard put their money where their mouth is, committed, and stopped supporting the company. That's not happening in this boycott. Nobody's taking this seriously because nobody's actually committing. Nobody, and this is why I say nobody actually cares. Nobody actually cares because no one is actually going the mile and saying that, okay, Genshin Impact is disrespecting my culture. To tally ho with you, company. I'm gonna stop playing your game. Nobody's doing that. Instead, they're getting mad, and then when Mav Woka comes out, they're gonna max out their credit card to C6 her because she is a big-breasted redhead that is hot as fuck. That's what's gonna happen.
I'm not just not playing on them, deleting them in such high numbers that Blizzard did something dirty. They started asking people for their ID to delete your account. They were getting scared. This emboldened the employees to start doing on-site protests on the company grounds. Now, unfortunately, this was stopped short when the Hong Kong protests got stopped short because of the pandemic. But as you can see, this is a real example of a boycott. Not whatever's going on with Genshin right now.
Yeah, and there you go. And there you go. The VAs, right? The employees of Blizzard protested, walked out, stopped working, stopped getting paychecks while this was going on, right? Genshin VAs are saying, a lot of the VAs are saying that this is horrible. This is it. Fix this now. You're a shit company for doing this. But they're still probably getting checks from the company. Like a lot of the Genshin VAs, I think they're going on boycott. They're going on strike not because of this, but because of the SAG-AFTRA for the AIs, which is a very, like, I'm not saying I don't support that. That's a very justifiable cause because AI is something that is a problem, and voice actor and voice talents need to be respected. But I'm just saying, some of the voice actors that are complaining about this, they still collected a check from this. They're still collecting a check from this company, right? Now I will keep in mind. I will say this: a lot of them probably because the contracts, all that they have to fulfill the contracts because they're legally binding. Totally get that, which is why I'm not trying to like come at the VAs, right? But I'm just saying that Supercross VA, she came in hard.
I don't think anything will change, and until something like this happens, nothing will ever change. So my advice to you is, if you truly find this to be a life or death situation for you and your culture, then honestly, I think it's time to move on and go to a game that better presents your values, because Genshin Impact or anything under Hoyoverse will not do so. And yeah, that's pretty much the controversy that's been going on the last few weeks. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna see you in the next video.
And I can't wait till Snezhnaya comes out and they're like, there's not enough. They didn't make they're not representing Russia properly in Snezhnaya because people aren't fighting bears out in the wild shirtless. That's what Russians do, right? Oh my gosh. But yeah, that's just how it is. That's just how it is with this catastrophic boycott. I mean, look, I made my statement clear, right? If, like Mujin said it as well, if this really violates you, if this pisses you off, if this, makes you feel a certain type of way, because people are making this seem like it's like people make it seem like it's fucking like the fucking I'm trying to think of that event. Oh my god. The Inquisition, right? Oh my god, I don't know why I couldn't think of that. People are making it seem like this is the Inquisition, right? People are making it seem like crazy. So if you really believe it's that much of a deal, you just have to stop supporting the company. I'm just keeping it real. You just have to stop supporting it. I'm not saying you're wrong for feeling that way. I'm not saying you're invalid for feeling that way. You have your opinion, totally cool, sure. That's how you feel. I'm not saying you're wrong for feeling that way, but like, you're making yourself look like a clown if you're gonna say all this but continue to spend money on the game. That's all I'm saying. But hey, that's just how I feel. Maybe a lot of people will correct me in the comments about this, but that's just how I feel about the situation.